Did you know you're not allowed to bring citrus or kumquats from anywhere else into the state of California?
Yes.
Yes.
Not supposed to, but people do.
I had no idea. Okay, I'm ready to start.
Hello, and welcome to Dots, Lines, and Destinations, episode 120. It is Thursday, September 29th, 2016. I'm Stephen Seagraves, today joined by Seth Miller and Fozz. Hey, guys.
Hello.
How's it going?
Pretty good, pretty good. It's been an interesting week in news.
And it's only Monday.
And it's only Monday. And it's when
when we're recording. By Thursday, things should be much better, right?
No.
You've got the crystal ball.
Seth has the crystal ball. I just help him read it.
Well, I think you caused the trouble this weekend.
That's true. I did cause trouble. I'm just around.
You were certainly blamed for it on Twitter, so I guess we'll give you full credit.
Absolutely. Well, let's just go right into Dots. We wanted to talk about Dubai and Singapore and your trip that you have that you're trying to plan, Seth, and you're kind of torn between your options.
Sure. So I have a conference in Dubai in mid-October, and the week after that, a conference in Singapore. And I currently have a ticket that gets me from JFK to Bangkok the week prior to my Singapore conference. The Dubai conference was a late addition to my schedule. And so I'm about to throw away one ticket and buy a whole new one. So shame on me for having to throw away mistake fare, but here we are. And I basically have to buy a one-way ticket to Dubai and then onward from there to... I'm still going to go to Bangkok because I like it better than Singapore and I will spend the weekend there. But trying to figure out the best way to do that. And cost is an issue, not surprisingly. So, because it's me. So probably going to be traveling in coach. And I was looking and trying to find the cheapest flights I could. And the cheapest option out there is a 12:30 a.m. departure from JFK on Ukraine International Airlines. And it flies to Kiev, and then from there on to Dubai.
Interesting. And is the Kiev to Dubai on a 737, I'm assuming?
Yeah. So it's like, I think it's a 767 and then a 737. Gotcha. Unfortunately, the Azerbaijani flight does not depart on Sundays, so I can't take them because of the layovers and whatnot. I wouldn't get to my conference on time. They have a 787 and actually a shorter total travel time, which would have been nice. But what it comes down to is I was looking at separate one-way trips, and it would have been about $400 for the Ukraine ticket, which is cheap for a one-way ticket to Dubai, and then separately probably $300 or $400 onward from there one way to Asia, Southeast Asia.
Okay.
I started looking at award options too, and one of them was buy the one ticket and then do an award. I think for One World awards from Dubai to Southeast Asia are actually pretty cheap on American, relatively speaking, and Qatar Airways has a ton of space. Head over, spend some time in the lounge, see my friend who lives in Doha, and then fly on, something like that. Or I was actually just considering Alaska Airlines and redeeming for Emirates awards. And obviously it's nonstop for both segments, which saves me time and, crazy and whatever. It's still going to be coach no matter what, but I don't have enough Alaska points to make the redemption, so I'd have to buy them.
Yeah. Did you?
And it ends up. Go ahead.
I was going to say, did you see the recent? They have a promo going on right now for
yes
bonus.
So the bonus miles. I don't have an account, which is awkward. I was telling you guys the other day. I think my account expired. My wife has an account though with 24,000 miles in it, and she has been gracious enough to allow me to redeem some of them. Slowly paying back the debts of the miles I've redeemed for us, I guess. But so we've got those 24,000-ish points to go, and her bonus was I think 40%. Okay. Looking at it, but it would be $650 I'd have to pay to get sufficient miles to redeem this coach award, and then the ticket itself is another $30 in taxes.
Gotcha.
So it's like probably $800-ish if I just bought cash straight up for questionable airlines on inconvenient flight times, or the $650, $700 all in on Emirates nonstops, and I'd be buying miles to get there.
That's a tough one. Because I know I would prefer, personally, probably to get the Ukrainian flight. Just
experience?
Yeah, just to get it.
Yeah. I've considered that. And I'm chomping at it. I kind of want it. It's good lines. It's a random airline. There's all sorts of things about it that are attractive from that perspective. It's also like 8 hours longer in transit to start what will likely be a 3.5-week trip or 3-week trip.
Yeah, because aren't you going to Hong Kong in the middle of this too?
After Singapore, I come to Hong Kong.
Yeah, so that's a bit.
And then I might be coming home, spending a night, and going on to Florida, and then Washington D.C. the following week.
I think the Emirates coach is going to be much better service as well.
Oh yeah, I mean Emirates coach. It's the 380 for at least the first flight, and I think the second one. And I know the 380 is a good coach product. I've flown it. I've sat in the seats for a while, but I would be more than happy to have that experience. So it's going to have IFE. It's going to have power. It'll have their free, but generally not so good Wi-Fi unless I get lucky and get one of the new planes, in which case it's free and moderately bad Wi-Fi instead of really awful. Yeah, I mean, the rational me says, stop being stupid, just book the Emirates flight. Yeah. But there's the rest of me.
I don't know. I mean, at the same time, you have to kind of take into account that you're going to be beat up after 3 weeks of travel, right? I mean, it's there's no way around it. So to me, the non-stops make a little bit more sense just from a physical, wearing on you.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the other things I was looking at is I could conceivably just buy the award to Dubai and then, whatever sketchy airline onward from there.
Yeah.
Or a separate award. I mean, if a separate award makes no sense because the incremental is only like 12,500 points different. But at that point, if you value them at whatever points, whatever cents each or 1.5 to 2 cents each and whatever the costs are, which is a little higher than that, but still, like that's a $300 or $400 ticket. I can easily do that.
Yeah. And with the reward on Alaska, the one-way, stopover, it kind of works, right? I mean, there's no rules.
Right. I mean, that's a great benefit. I like that.
Yeah.
But I've never had an Alaska award. Like, does that count as something unique and special I should try to do?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, I just booked mine. I mean, I booked the London Heathrow Portland London inaugural.
You got the inaugural?
That was my first Alaska reward that I've ever redeemed for. And so,
okay.
No, I think the $25 fee for booking on a partner is kind of stupid, but whatever. That's just me.
Yeah. Agreed. Pesky little fee, but it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, they still do have some of the better redemption options. I mean, have you seen space? Is there space available on the Emirates flight?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
There is. Yeah. And I briefly was like, well, hey, there's business class. And then I hesitated, and now the flight from here to Dubai no longer has business, so I don't have to be tempted by paying an absorbent amount to buy the points to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing with Alaska that I love is I booked an award similar to Steven, except they wouldn't let me come back to New York. I have to go all the way back to Portland. But I'm allowed to have a stopover in New York.
Oh, free one way.
Yeah.
Have you talked to the bloggers about that? They're big into those these days.
Yes, I believe United caught on to that, so they're killing it.
Sorry.
I've got a credit card referral for you while we're at it.
Oh, hey, have you tried the Chase Sapphire Reserve?
We talked about that last show.
I know. While I was gone.
With your need for Emirates points, do you have any Marriott Rewards points you could move around?
So I think I have a few that I could combine with some of my Starwood points and then do the transfer. I'm concerned about transfer times, as I would like to try to book it this week.
Oh, yes.
I have to depart in the middle of October. My departure date is like the 16th or 17th of October, so I don't want to wait too much longer.
Do you have a Starwood Amex by chance?
I do not.
No. I was going to say, because those transfer to Alaska, I think my last transfer to Alaska took 2 days, so it's pretty quick.
I mean, if it's only 2 days, I could probably I do have some Starwood points, but I have to see how many, and but not.
And you get the bonus for every 20,000. You get a 5,000 point bonus. So it's interesting. We'll have to quiz you, or you have to post in the comments on the show on what you decided to do, so people know. Because I see the allure of like getting the JFK Kiev flight. That's kind of cool. I mean, you and I have talked about doing the Azerbaijan flight or the one that goes through Riga. What is that one? Uzbekistan Airlines?
Yeah, but I think aren't they getting like a 787 or something and switching it around, so not doing it nearly as often?
Yeah, so they're only
going to be a triangle flight?
Yeah, they only do Riga one way and only certain times. So they won't do it every day or every flight that they fly. So kind of stinks, but I think it goes to does it go? What city in Uzbekistan do they go to?
Tashkent, maybe?
Yeah, I think it's Tashkent to Riga. But Tashkent to JFK is okay with me.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I mean, like, this is a little bit of the, gosh, how much do I chase the fun stuff instead of being smart and doing what I know I should?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to earn points on the Ukraine international flight anyway, so it's not like I need to worry about throwing away the points.
Yeah. Well,
I guess I also should look and see if, like, I could do a United award or something, but I think it's going to be too many points to get there, and it's going to have the same connection and bad timing issues as all the others.
Would you, if you did the United one, if you booked it soon, you wouldn't have to worry about the new rule changes, right? You could still
I wouldn't either way, because it's one way, so I wouldn't get the free stop.
Gotcha, yeah.
And I'm only gold now, so I don't even know. I think I still don't pay the close-in ticketing fee, but...
Since Fozz brought it up, let's talk about Marriott and Starwood. I think it's kind of a good, tertiary subject. You can now status match your Marriott account.
I was going to say, they're a little bigger than a tertiary award program, Steve.
No, I meant tertiary topic. That's what I meant.
First, could we have a moment of silence for Starwood?
Yes, I'm hanging my head.
It's not dead yet.
Might as well. Now, with all these Marriott people status matching, I mean, they're about to have a field day, and for the SPG Platts, it's going to be a hard life now.
You think
Yeah, but
so?
none of them want to stay there anyways.
What's that?
But none of them want to stay in them, right?
Everyone I've been talking to who's a Marriott is like foaming at the mouth because they now get access to SPG properties and they get platinum.
All right, well, good on you.
I mean, yeah, you can status match now, and you can also transfer points between the programs, right? And it's one. Is it one?
3-1.
3-1. So you get 3 Marriott points for 1 Starwood point.
Yep.
And vice
And so if you've been, it's interesting. If you've been hoarding Starwood points for a while, there's actually relatively easy access now to the Marriott flights and rooms rewards. And I think they have a fancy name for it that I got wrong. But you get like the travel package, which is like 5-night award plus some gobsmacking number of points to transfer to your airline of choice.
So hypothetically,
and a 3-1 ratio, that's a nice play.
If hypothetically you have 1 million Starwood points, you'd be
Please, dear God, tell me you don't really have that many.
Yes.
Oh, God, Stephen.
Just depressed.
Oh, man. Can we there's got to be an intervention or something.
I have something.
Can we do it right here on the show? I'm not prepared. I don't have like my exorcism kit and whatnot.
He's going to book everyone's rooms in Hong Kong. That's how he's going to make up for it.
I'm in.
No, I mean,
Put each of us at a different Marriott and Starwood property. See how we all do.
Yeah, it's like see who fares better. Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea.
Dibs on not staying at the W on the island that's way out in like Tech City or whatever that is.
Kowloon?
No,
the one on the island that's like way west.
It's out by past the airport, like west of the airport.
Oh, I didn't realize there's another one.
It's not west of the airport. I'll find it. I think it's a W. It's on Hong Kong Island towards the west. And it's a weird location with like nothing. It's like offices and stuff around, but
yeah, it is a W, I think, or is it maybe it's not a Le Meridian?
Right.
I think it's a W. Anyway, yeah, I mean, so this would work out for me well if I.
It's Le Meridian Cyberport.
Look at that, I was right. Jeez.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Well, with 1 million points, you think you'd know the properties.
Yeah, you know.
Is that a requirement? No.
There's a quiz.
Yeah. So with your 1 million points, you could in fact transfer a small subset of those over to Marriott, triple their value, and then redeem for one of these, package awards. The key there is you've got to want to spend 5 nights somewhere.
Okay. Yeah, that could be nice. And are these packages like all over the world, or is there like specific places?
Yeah, you get it's by hotel category.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so it's the flight and hotel packages, and what you end up with is, depending on which category you book into, it costs a different number of points. I'm trying to pull up the details right now, installing and not doing a great job of it. But when you get them, what you essentially end up with is a nice volume of transfer points. So for, call it a category 1 through 5 for 55,000 miles to your favorite hotel program plus 7 nights. So it's even worse than I thought in that context. It's 200,000 Marriott points.
Oh, wow.
So if you figure you go 1-to-1 on Marriott points to a hotel, that means you're paying 145,000 points for 7 nights up to a category 5.
Not bad.
Yeah, you can go up to, and there's some weird math here, but it actually skews a little better. You can go up to 132,000 miles. So if you want 77,000 more miles, you actually pay only 70,000 more Marriott points. So that would be the top end, which is 7 nights, category 1 through 5, plus 132,000 miles transferred to your favorite hotel.
You mean airline, right?
I'm sorry, yes, your favorite airline, I'm sorry. Would cost you 90,000 Starwood points.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
So, well, think about that. Your 90,000 Starwood points, even if you add the bonus for the 5,000, would never get you 130,000 airline miles. Yeah. This actually improves that, plus gets you 7 nights of a category 1 through 5 hotel.
I guess I should go status match.
Link up them accounts.
Well, and the other thing about Marriott is that they have a ton of properties in Africa, which is kind of awesome. I mean, that's a big thing to me because we've wanted to do safari and different places in Africa we wanted to visit. So
yeah, I mean, you can do the Protea.
Yeah,
is what it's called, right?
Yeah, which looks really awesome.
Yeah. I'm sorry. By the way, the 55,000 miles with 132,000 is only for United. That's a 10,000 bonus point. Normally, it's fewer points than that. So it's 120,000 miles, not 132, or 50,000, not 55. So whatever. But that's still for all the programs that you're more likely to use. There are some that transfer at different rates, at a lower rate. If you want Air Berlin or Air France KLM or ANA or Singapore, it's actually a worse rate. But
still not. It's still a pretty good deal though if you're a United flight.
Yeah, no, this is one of those things. If you were going to just transfer your points to a airline anyways, this is a way to do it and arguably get 7 free nights of hotel along with it.
Yeah, I mean,
So.
I'm wondering. I was a big Starwood. I'm a big Starwood guy, clearly, but I used to stay at Marriott's a lot. Back, I don't know, 8-9 years ago, and I just never was impressed. So I kind of, it was always like I knew what I was getting, and it was going to be disappointing. So at least with Starwood,
at least now you have a chance of not being disappointed when you get there.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. So Fozz,
which of their 30 brands was your favorite?
Of whose? Marriott?
Exactly. I don't know. I mean, there's so many.
See, my philosophy is that Marriott is basically, cookie cutter America where everything's always the same. Whereas Starwood is much more like Forrest Gump, where you never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's how I feel.
Like I've never been surprised or delighted at a Marriott. It's like a routine. It's like walking in, getting stamped, getting checked in, going to your room, and locking yourself up. Whereas with the Starwood, there's always something different in my experience.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I have been disappointed at Starwood properties. Don't get me wrong. I've had some terrible stays, but. At Marriott's, I always felt like it was just kind of like the rooms were just blah. Everything was just kind of blah. I never had I will say that in Seoul, Seth, we had an amazing room that was unbelievable and wasn't what we expected. I expected we were going to get like a pull-out couch and like a one-bedroom. We got basically a suite, and it was.
Yeah, well, this is you called ahead and said, "Does the room sleep 3 people?" And they said, "Of course, no problem."
And then we show up.
And they hooked us up, right? I mean, among other things, the suite you could tell they knew it was 3 people coming because they added extra towels and robes and slippers.
Yeah. And maybe that's because it's an Asian property. Yeah, exactly. So, but it was impressive. And that was the Conrad.
JW.
No, JW, that's right.
JW. Hilton property.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Starwoods, though, I've had some really awesome experiences, more than I've had negative experiences. I'm mixed on the whole merger thing. I'm hopeful, but I'm a little sad, too.
Well, I mean, so, one of the things that we've all noticed is they're not merging programs until 2018. And there's a belief that it might be because Marriott's having buyer's remorse. I mean, they were trying to get out of it a few weeks ago, but they were clearly obliged to buy it if they passed all the regulators, which it did.
But do you think they'll just sell it off?
It's possible.
Like split it up and sell off different pieces?
Keep some of the prized properties, but get rid of the rest of the portfolio with the program.
That would be really sad.
It would.
I would be very surprised if that happened.
It's an interesting
I like the theory. I think what you end up with, though, is you're going to anyone you try to do that, anyone you try to make that transaction with is going to immediately know that you kept the best properties. And is there how many what percentage of the properties can you keep? It was a relatively large program, but by far not the largest. Marriott was already the largest, right? Or IHG, one of the two.
I think IHG.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it also depends, like, how many properties you count, like the Wyndham or a Choice, but whatever. Starwood was definitely not the largest. If you take 20% of the properties off of them, you've got a Hyatt almost. It's not that small, but, like, you've got a problem where you're too small to effectively compete at a global scale, and the whole purpose of this was to do that. Now, maybe you sell those off to Hyatt, and
Starwood,
that one becomes just big enough, but...
Starwood, it's not so much about the properties, it's about the brands, because Starwood doesn't really own any of the properties.
And they still got to be able to compete.
Yeah, but you can reflag a property very easily. You just enter into lucrative properties reflag.
Yeah, properties reflag all the time. I get that. That would still cost a ton of money to convert people over, right? Properties reflag either when it's time for maintenance, so they can write it off as a one-time capex as opposed to ongoing maintenance work, or when they're given the proverbial offer you can't refuse of a bigger share of revenue or something like that.
Hey, I like the theory that Qatar's going to buy them just to piss Delta off.
That'd be funny.
They do already have it. They actually have their own hotel chain in Doha.
Really?
Yeah, the Oryx Hotels.
Wow.
It's right by the airport and owned by Qatar Airways.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know.
I stayed there a couple times. It's nice enough.
I don't know though, Fozz. I mean, I think it's really unlikely that Marriott does anything at this point. I think they're just going to deal with it, and who knows? Maybe they'll keep the program separate. I mean, that would be weird, but
why would you keep the program separate? I mean, at the earliest until 2018.
Because it's such a headache to merge the two. That's why.
It's a pain to merge them, except that you can see they had their IT folks working overtime. They got this integration done very quickly,
which is impressive.
It is impressive. I appreciate it. But there's also got to wonder were they not sure when this was going to happen? To actually do a full program integration today, you basically have to have started 6 months ago to be ready for 2017, I feel like.
Yeah.
And merging it mid-year offers minimal incremental benefits.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think it's sort of like the American-U.S. merger, and just the timing of it didn't allow for it to happen as early as they wanted. And so everything got delayed a year. What we thought was delayed a year, in reality, was probably 4 to 6 months, but then you wait till the end of the year to not really piss off your customers and to be able to give them some better advanced warning of what's coming.
Yeah. True.
It's a theory.
Well,
what's the line, Stephen?
The line is San Francisco, Helsinki. Finnair is talking about launching that as a new seasonal flight starting September 28th of next year, so 2017. And it's actually pretty cool. Helsinki to San Francisco would depart around 4:30 Helsinki time and then arrive in San Francisco around 5:20 p.m. And then the return from San Francisco to Helsinki would leave about 7:10 p.m. and would arrive in Helsinki at 3:30 p.m. next day. So that's actually, we were talking a few shows back about West Coast departures. That's actually a great West Coast departure time because that's, it's a longer flight and it leaves at dinner time rather than 2 p.m.
I like the departure time from Helsinki. Why can't more carriers do that?
Yeah, leaving later in the afternoon. Yeah, it's awesome.
I hate them more in 9 a.m. departures.
Yeah. And I mean, it makes all your connections have to be at 6 a.m. if you have any kind of connection in Europe.
Yes.
Yep. So
I wonder how much of that is. I do like those times, and as we've discussed many times on the show before, why for the same reasons you guys are talking about. But I wonder how much of that comes from aircraft utilization versus passenger flow.
Yeah.
Right. How much of that is because they're trying to connect passengers onto San Francisco, and if so, from where? It's not the flight from Helsinki to San Francisco is only. I'm looking at the map here. 150 or so miles different than Frankfurt, so it's actually not that much shorter. Unlike going to China or Korea or Japan, where it's significantly shorter from Helsinki.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I guess it gets you all of the afternoon connections out of Europe, or, the mid-morning, late-morning connections as opposed to the early morning connections. But who does it really collect as passengers? Or is it just an issue of the plane's coming back from China and doesn't get in time to get you out otherwise?
Yeah. And excuse me, I misspoke. It's June 1st is when it starts. It'll run from June 1st to September 28th. That's the season of it, 3 times weekly. Yeah, sorry about that. So it's going to operate 3 times a week. So for me, it seems like this is kind of like a perfect summer. I mean, this is a tourist flight. That's really what this is about. So maybe it is the onward flow to other European destinations and including Scandinavia.
I mean, at that point, you're now also you're competing with Norwegian.
Yeah.
So that's going to be challenging to say the least, but it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I mean, I've always wanted to try Finnair, so maybe this will give me an opportunity since it's West Coast and timed relatively well.
Are they just talking about it, or are they actually solidified it?
It's solidified.
I think it's for reals.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen.
Has it been loaded yet?
AirlineRoute.net has it in the system, so they show it in the GDS.
Okay.
I trust them.
I'm wondering if the award space is open.
Are you going to go on AA tonight and see?
AA have online booking for anyone other than...
they actually have Finnair.
Do they now?
Yeah.
I missed that one.
I don't think there's been an announcement there. I don't think the list of where it's available exists anymore either, but I saw it the other day.
It's not like just Finnair flights within Europe or something.
No, it may be something stupid like that, but I saw Finnair flights.
Okay. I trust you. I will say I generally go to BA because they've done a far better job of integrating the partners.
When did you say it was supposed to fly, Stephen?
June 1st of next year.
Yeah. Revenue fares aren't loaded yet.
No revenue yet? So
or
maybe the schedule's just
or
loaded.
Google Flights is borked, but filtering for...
AirlineRoute.net says that the reservations for the 3 times weekly flight is available. So
I'm looking at Helsinki to San Francisco non-stops in July.
They can reserve it. They just can't issue a ticket.
Oh, there it goes. No, it didn't. Stupid Google Flights. It wouldn't give me because I was searching with the wrong return date. $1,364 round trip.
Wow.
Random week-long trip in mid-July. That's Helsinki originating.
There's one seat on the inaugural.
Ooh, you gonna grab it?
Fozz?
If I can, yes.
In business?
In business.
Wow, Fozz. Score one for Fozz today. Lastly, we have our destinations, and we just kind of made the destination.
Solid practical advice during the show. I can't believe that we've actually, forget my trip, which we came to zero conclusions on, but we actually got Fozz to book a ticket during the show. on an inaugural.
Well,
for a new route.
So he'll not be present the rest of the show because he'll be trying to book it.
Wait a minute, does this conflict with our
June 1st, 2017? Shouldn't conflict with anything.
But we're doing the inaugural Portland Heathrow.
That's May. No, that's the end of May 25th.
Right,
which is 3 days away from June.
Well, it's perfect because I return on the 28th.
Yes, Fozz, why don't you just stay in Europe? Which inaugural are you going, from San Francisco or from Helsinki?
From San Francisco was what I found.
Well, you can hang out with me in Portland for a week and then take the San Francisco flight.
And by the way, AA is not showing it, but BA is showing it.
Huh.
Exactly.
So much for I swear that the AA shows some inventory from time to time.
We'll get to a conclusion. You have to make your own decisions for Dubai and Singapore. Going back to your problem.
I know.
The destination is all of Europe because there's been some rumors, there's been some craziness going on, and also some speculation, or I should say, some predictions from Hawaiian saying that they would like to fly to Europe direct, nonstop from Hawaii. Using if the plane can do it. I mean, that was something their CEO said. He kind of, in passing, said if Airbus makes the plane, I'm assuming the A330s and A350s,
330 Neo,
the 330 Neo, reach Europe and with sufficient range and ETOP stuff, then they'd consider it, which is an interesting strategy. I guess they see more Europeans coming to Hawaii than before. I don't know. What do you think, Seth?
It's a little hard for me to believe that many Europeans want to go to Hawaii to justify the flight, and I'm also not sure who they were talking about. London was specifically where he said they'd go. It's unclear who they would use as a partner to connect to get other traffic off the continent. But I mean, I like the idea of putting crazy long routes like that up there. It's going to be right at the edge of the 330 Neo range.
Yeah.
And legitimately, his comment, was something to the effect of, "Well, it's supposed to be able to do that, and if they actually deliver it that way, then we'll probably give it a go." But it's hard to know if it's actually going to run or not.
But, I mean, the things that make flights profitable are really the premium cabin. What is the premium cabin demand for Honolulu to London?
I think it's very low. During the same interview, he also said that they were seriously considering the A380. I was going to try to maintain a straighter face than that, but you guys didn't let me.
For what, the shuttle flights between Maui and Honolulu?
That would be awesome. No, it's funny. The Bloomberg piece about it says, "Oh yeah, and they run 6 flights a day to Los Angeles, so this would help." What the Bloomberg piece ignores is that only half of those actually go to Los Angeles. Actually, half of those go to Honolulu. The other 3 dailies spread out to the other islands. So it's not really that consolidated a service. We have ANA talking about bringing their Skymark A380s to Honolulu. So there is some demand for higher volume in the Japan tourism market. But for ANA, they have all the connecting feed.
Right.
And Hawaiian has no feed at either end, really. And that's the hard part. I actually wrote about it, published something earlier today. I'll maybe put a link in the show notes. But the hard part is that the 380 works where you have a single hub, which Hawaiian mostly does, and where you have a ton of flow. And Hawaiian does not have that passenger flow. I just don't see it.
Yeah.
No, because, ANA has an established customer base in Tokyo. So they can afford to fill those planes. They'll fill those planes through vacationers. Hawaiian is a secondary carrier as far as the Japanese are concerned. They'll have a much harder time filling a plane.
I agree.
Yeah.
And they also, I just don't see it working for the Los Angeles Honolulu service. Los Angeles works for Hawaiian because they have multiple flights at different times of day.
Yeah.
Also, you could say, okay, well, fine, because they have flights at different times, you could connect via Honolulu to Seoul, to Tokyo, to Beijing, all those Asian destinations, maybe with the 330 Neos onward even as far as Hong Kong. But all of those destinations already have nonstop service from LA. And connecting through Honolulu is 15 to 20% further.
Yeah, unless they're going to deep discount that traffic.
Or unless they pull in Iceland Air and do free stopovers.
So I consider the free stopover thing. And I agree with you, that is about the only way to generate the traffic they need. How many, I guess this goes back to, though, you're looking for premium passengers, not leisure customers. It should be easy to sell random low-end leisure customers on, and you get a free stop in Hawaii, spend a couple days on the beach. But the first-class passengers aren't going to pay for that.
Yeah.
And so, the good news is the 380 has got such good economics, you could arguably fill up on total leisure passengers have a decent-sized first-class cabin just for the people that are going O&D and call it a day, and still potentially make money. I mean,
well, I think where a 380 could be very lucrative to Hawaiian, and I don't think it's been done yet, is focus a little less on passengers and more on cargo. If they could do some sort of combi, they could make it very useful.
Yeah, and discount the cargo side of things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's always the need for cargo in and out of Hawaii.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to get those pineapples and macadamia nuts out.
It's true. I mean,
and with Hanjin failing, that opens up space in the cargo market right now.
Yeah. Could an A380 do Hawaii Heathrow, or is that too far?
I'm not sure. I will check while we're talking here.
It would be about 8,000 miles. It would be on the outer limits, if at all.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be able to do a westbound. It will be able to do it eastbound, I think.
Because I was thinking, like, cargo. I mean, getting all those macadamia nuts to Europe. That's you gotta supply that Lufthansa first class cabin somehow. and the nonstop, baby. I mean, that's the way to do it.
But that only gets it to London, not Frankfurt.
From our friends, they were telling us there's a Deutschbahn train being used in London, so the Germans are coming.
Be careful how you say that in London. But...
Oh man, I'm just taking this off the rails.
As an interjection to go back to the Seth thing,
the range is sorry. I'm just going to kill you real quick. The range on the 380-800 is 8,200 nautical miles, which is 9,400 regular miles, and Honolulu Heathrow is only 7,200, so I could do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you think they'd be able to do it in the winter in the west, going westbound though?
I think they'd go straight.
Yeah, because you're so far. Especially with 4 engines, it's almost polar.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you stay north of the Jetson, crosses north of Iceland. I'm just looking at a great circle map. It crosses north of Iceland and off the corner where Alaska and Canada is, like at the south where they meet.
Mm-hmm.
Well above all the winds there.
Yeah.
By the way, I was able to book Helsinki, San Francisco on the 1st on AA.
So you're just gonna stay in Europe?
I don't know what I'm gonna do. Do I ever?
That's awesome. But more stuff in Europe. I mean, this is all fascinating, but it's all kind of like theoretical, right? And there's a bunch of other theoretical stuff going on in Europe. And Seth, you and I spent Saturday afternoon, Sunday night.
As a warning to low-cost carriers in Europe, be careful of Steven.
We spent those days looking at some charters that had been flown to basically leisure destinations all over Europe. So Palma de Mallorca,
Grand Canary.
Yeah, the Grand Canary. There's a bunch of them. And the way we started deducing that they were being brought in because of issues with a low-cost carrier that operates from those destinations, and they had schedules filed to go operate flights from these places. And it lined up with Monarch. And we were accused of rumor mongering, and there was an airliners.net thread that opened up about all this. Not us specifically, but other people noticed this as well, because people wonder what a United 747 is doing in Palma de Mallorca. Yeah.
And then another one went to Tenerife.
Yeah, another one went to Tenerife. I mean, people wonder about that. That's not normal. U.S. carriers don't usually operate European flights, so why do they have schedules filed for these places? And so people were doing investigative work and found that the schedules really lined up with Monarch and their flights. And so people were wondering, was Monarch going to go bust today when we're recording this Monday, which didn't happen. But it did come out that Monarch was in talks with the Civil Aviation Authority of the UK to find a financier or an investor to help them renew their ATOL license, which is a license that allows them to operate. It doesn't allow them to operate. It allows basically they have insurance for if they were to go under. And so ATOL covers Britons to be able to return home if the carrier doesn't make it. So
it's insurance to get you home.
Yeah, exactly. It's insurance to get you home. And there was some debate on whether or not that just covers flights or if that covers flights and hotel stuff. So if you book a package, I think, does ATOL apply, right?
No, and so that's one of the things. There's two versions of it. It started as a package insurance scheme, but it now, for Monarch, it covers all flights originating in the UK are covered by either ATOL or PayPal insurance, is their statement. So that's covered. But, I mean, what it comes down to is they need this operating certificate from the CAA, and it's due to renew on Friday.
Yep.
And if they don't have the money to put up the bond to fund their ATOL, which is the best analogy I can come up with is credit card holdbacks.
Yeah.
From an airline, right? I mean, if you're an airline in the United States and you're considered questionable, sketchy, uncertain, shaky ground, the credit card companies hold some massive percentage of the money instead of giving it to you, so that when you go under, they can refund the transactions, which of course gives you less money, so it makes you go under faster. So, Yay. But it's the same idea. And so they're holding. The UK government wants to make sure that it doesn't get screwed on this too badly, and so it's trying to make sure that Monarch can put up the cash. And the latest statement Monday morning was, no, we expect to have the money very soon, matter of days. It's coming. It's going to be a really big check. It's going to be huge.
Yeah.
You won't believe the size of that check. It's going to be a huge investment. Sorry, the debates are on in the background, and I'm trying my best to not do that.
It's going to be huge.
People, move along. Nothing is here.
Yeah, I mean, I think I personally, I got attacked a little bit for rumor mongering and that this is people's jobs, and I get that. It sucks. But you know what? I mean, there are going to be people that we're going to be flying home, and I think we were making some pretty good deductions based on schedules filed, and now this information comes out that they were struggling and are still struggling to fund the bond.
I have no doubt that what we found was accurate and the way we presented it was true. I think that they were on the cusp, and the CAA sees it coming and is rightfully concerned and is doing its best. It's going to spend a little money now to try to not have to spend a crap ton later.
Yeah, because what they're doing is they're putting planes in place in case that bond isn't renewed. They need a way to get everybody home, and the best way to do that is with charters and 747s. I mean, Monarch's. You said Monarch's A321s, which is their mainstay plane, holds 240 people. Is that
no, not quite. 207 or 214.
214. Okay, that's what. And so two of those is a 747, right? I mean, two of those flights.
Two full ones.
Yeah. So you can run these 747 charters. You can run. They have an Omni Air 767 that's over there right now. There's an Atlas Air 747 over there right now. There's rumors that an Air Transat flight is going to be over there. That was supposed to happen today. So I'm interested to see kind of how they move the planes around, because I think they need them in specific places where more Brits are at the leisure destinations. So if there's more in Tenerife, they might send another plane down there to help with getting people out of Tenerife.
Right. And so Tenerife is there. I mean, this morning, United filed, instead of running its Mallorca to Birmingham flight, filed to move the aircraft over to Gran Canaria.
Yeah.
And then pulled back on that.
So they're being told, hey, wait, maybe you stay
basically, here. And it's... Where can we put people? Where are people? Where are the planes? Where do we see demand? I have to assume CAA has some insight into Monarch's books to figure that out.
Yeah.
Right. Where? How many people are where?
Yeah. And I think another point was that, a lot of people were saying, well, Monarch is denying all this. Their Twitter page is denying it. Well, of course they are. These are frontline employees that have no insight into what's going on at the CEO level and at the leadership level. So their assumptions, they're probably asking, hey, is this true? But no one's going to tell them, yeah, we're going under, buddy, pack your bags. But
right. And to be fair, they had not yet declared it, so it wasn't technically for them yet.
Yeah.
No one outright lied. It was just stretching the truth.
Yeah. And it's not like these people aren't covered. So the people who are the travelers are worried, and the answer should just be, you're covered no matter what. That's what our insurance bond is for. So the CAA has you covered, Atoll has you covered. You're good, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's still shitty.
It sucks.
Your vacation gets cut short. You get told to go to an airport, report immediately. It's not good, but odds are you're not going to be stuck there trying, hitchhiking home.
Yeah, swimming from Gran Canaria. Yeah. And lastly, another airline that is kind of rumored to be having some troubles is Air Berlin. And you brought this up kind of right before the show, and I haven't had a ton of time to dig into it, so I'll let you talk about it, Seth.
Yeah, they're screwed. They've been losing money hand over fist. Got a nice investment from subsidies from Etihad, and they keep losing that money too. They're down, I think, 1.3 billion, either euros or dollars. At that point, it almost doesn't matter. Some massive amount of money in the last few years, and they are looking at options to now essentially spin off their point-to-point short-haul service and transfer those aircraft to Eurowings and TuiFly, which is Lufthansa's low-cost arm, and TuiFly, which is now an amalgamation of different carriers from all over Europe, and trying to put that all together. They'd cut a whole bunch of employees, they would shed a ton of aircraft, and then double down on long-haul service plus their feeder flights to that long-haul vis-a-vis short-haul flying within Europe. So,
and
Yeah, go ahead.
Is the theory then that they'll turn some of that point-to-point flying over to, I'm guessing, Eurowings being Lufthansa's low-cost carrier? Is that it? I mean, they already kind of do that. I mean, they already compete on some of those routes. I mean, I'm talking like Berlin, Dusseldorf, right? Is a Eurowings flight, and that's Air Berlin's one of their bread and butter hourly flights. So would they? So they're just going to transfer the planes. It's not like I don't think Lufthansa wants.
I think they would. I think they would have to change schedules and recrew and all sorts of other things too. I mean, they're saying transfer the planes. That's part of the transaction would be shifting ownership of the aircraft.
Uh-huh.
But this would then allow Lufthansa to completely restructure the operation.
And so then what do they do then with their long-haul stuff, with Air Berlin's long-haul stuff?
They would still run it. That would stay as the Etihad partner airline group, whatever operation, and try to stay in business.
I would love to know their numbers on connecting traffic in Europe. Because I would think, I mean, they fly mostly to Dusseldorf and Berlin. Those are their two long-haul spots. They have to have some connecting traffic within Germany, and that's feeding those flights.
Right. No, they're going to keep the short-haul feeders.
Okay.
At those airports, but it's the other random flight. I mean, they do a Hamburg to London or a Hamburg to whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the ones that they want to give up.
Okay.
Now, can they put any of this blame on the Berlin airport delay?
Right. I think so, honestly. I'm serious.
They haven't been able to grow.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's been restricted in Berlin because of the airport.
Yeah. No, I was somewhat facetious, but I also was serious about that statement as well.
Yeah. Well, that'll be fun to watch. When is this going to take place, Seth? Is it in the next couple of weeks? Or
we might know. Yeah, next couple of days is.
Oh wow!
Like before end of the week, we may, or maybe early next week, we should have another press conference.
So what is going on in Europe? I mean, is it that bad? Are yields and loads that bad that carriers, especially domestically, are having trouble? And when I say domestically, I mean intra-European.
There's massive competition. The economy is not doing especially well, and everyone else has lower costs.
Yeah.
I mean, and not everybody else has lower costs, but when your competition is basically Ryanair, EasyJet, and whichever other low-cost carrier, Wizz Air, I mean, name your low-cost carrier of choice, the leisure routes, the true holiday vacation routes, Monarch is flying them, although not from Germany as much. But you've got this very real competition on those routes. You can either compete on price or on product, and time again, people bitch and moan and whine and complain, but then don't buy on price.
Yeah. And
I'm one of them.
And on a 2-hour, I mean, what's the longest European segment? I think I saw Gran Canaria is probably the longest flight I could find. Yeah, I think Gran Canaria is the furthest. Maybe Tenerife, one of those two. It's maybe 4 hours, 4.5 on a low-cost carrier. So, I mean, the experience, if the price is right, you don't really give a crap about for a 4-hour flight. It's not like you're going across the ocean. Just part of it.
Yeah, I mean, in 4 hours, I mean, that's the same sort of London-Istanbul is about 4 hours also, I think. So,
yeah.
Those are the very long flights, or London-Moscow, something like that. Those are the flights that are really stretching. If the average stage length within Europe is very short.
Yeah, like an hour and a half.
It doesn't make those uncomfortable seats any more comfortable, but at least you get through it quickly and, you get where you're going.
Yep. Interesting. Well,
I hate saying that, but that's how I would shop those flights. That's how I shop them in the States, too.
Oh, I mean, I think that's how we do it whenever we're over there. It's like, okay, is it cheaper to take the train or is it cheaper to just take a Ryanair flight? And I've looked at Ryanair flights before, and sometimes it's like, well, that just makes more sense.
Yeah, I've taken them a couple times. I like their product.
Yeah.
I know that makes me a pariah. I've done it twice now. Both times was exactly what it was supposed to be.
Yeah. You weren't disappointed. You knew what you were getting. It wasn't Marriott.
Yeah. No, it was Marriott. It was exactly what it was supposed to be.
Oh, you just, okay, yeah, that's the one way to take the, I was trying to be funny, but you're more right than I am.
And I have no idea what I'm doing anymore, so I've now finished my second very large glass of wine for the night.
Well, you need a large glass of wine if you're watching the debates, right? That's like required.
Even worse is I'm vaguely watching them on Twitter, which is a disaster.
Last topic, and then we'll end the show. United is moving, and we haven't talked about United much at all this show, so why not throw a little bit in? United's moving some of their 767s around because of maintenance issues. So the 767-300s are going to be moved to Chicago, Newark, and Houston as their primary bases, and they will no longer see 767-400s except for Newark, Brussels, which is random. And
Paris.
And Paris? Newark, Paris is going to have one too?
When I pull up the schedule, Newark, Paris is still 764.
Oh. So this is all being done to consolidate maintenance for these planes. So they're going to operate all the flights that they can with 767-300s out of those 3 places. It's kind of weird. It's kind of strange. I mean, those birds, some of them went through a retrofit to get lie-flat seats, but I guess they didn't take care of the maintenance problems that had cropped up over the last 10 years.
Well, United has never done a really good job of maintaining its fleet.
Yeah.
And, I mean, what's the old, I think it was Seth who said a long time ago, you can take the ghetto out of the bird, but you can't take the bird out of the ghetto, or vice versa.
Yeah, it's got to be vice versa. And I don't think it was me, but I'll take credit for it. You can take the bird out of the ghetto, but you can't take the ghetto out of the bird.
Yeah, exactly.
Is clearly the line. But I don't think it was me, but I'll take credit for it. Sure, let's go with that.
But I mean, after the merger, when they retrofit, at least they didn't do the half-ass retrofit that pre-merger United did. They replaced all the bins in the plane, not just the ones in first business only. But the reality is, the Pratt & Whitney engines, which have always had reliability issues. United was never great about maintaining the plane. So I mean, I've been on some of those birds when they're just as old as the 764s, but they look 20 years older.
Yeah. So you think this is just a combination of age and maintaining?
Yeah. But I just don't understand the moving them out of Dulles, how that really changes it when you're still spreading them across 3 hubs.
Well, I mean, I think you can rotate those planes. You need the lift between, I mean, they're running, hourly flights between Chicago and Houston, and then hourly flights between Chicago and Newark, and they still have capacity issues.
You need the transatlantic lift.
Yeah, you need that too. So, I mean, it kind of makes sense to me. And if you have them at Newark and in Houston and Chicago, then you can say, okay, well, my Newark Paris flight or my Newark London flight is delayed, but I have another 763 over here.
But part of the challenge with that is, right, these are supposed to be, like Newark London is a great example. It's a premium route.
Yep.
They get a lot of expensive traffic. Why would you put a substandard plane on it?
Well, I don't think they care.
Well, I think that's the problem. That's what I don't understand, right? They've been fighting for that, and that's a lot of. Why would they not care when that's a big revenue maker? And the other thing I don't understand is Newark is a predominantly O&D traffic.
Yeah.
Whereas Dulles is not. So why would you make that switch knowing that you're going to have a larger impact on your O&D traffic?
Well, haven't they had some issues with the 764s as well?
Yes, but not as badly as 763s.
So maybe part of this is we just need the 764s in one place so we can do maintenance on them. That could be part of it.
Possibly, but they're going to have to make a massive shift in parts because the 764s were never based out of Dulles.
No, they were based in Houston for the most part.
No, they were based in Newark.
No.
Yes.
They were running Houston. Well, I mean, they were based in Newark and Houston, but they were running like Houston most of Europe with 764s at one point.
But the base was primarily Newark.
Okay. So you're saying you have to move all those parts down there. Why make the switch? Why not just keep them at Newark and put the 763s at Dulles, Houston, and Chicago?
Which they've been in Dulles most of the time. And I understand part of it is because they need some 763s in Newark to do things like Hamburg and Berlin, some of the thinner routes. But those are all secondary routes. They're not their prime bread and butter for business.
Yeah.
So why impact the prime bread and butter for business? I mean, this means Frankfurt, Munich, London all go 763.
Yeah, I mean, it makes connecting through Newark much less attractive if you're going to get a 763.
And it makes upgrades harder.
Yeah, true. Yeah, we'll have to see how it goes. And when does all that take place? I mean, it's soon, right? Is it the winter schedule? Or is it
It's starting in November.
Oh, wow.
Which is when the winter schedule kicks in. Obviously, is 30th and 31st of October.
Yeah.
Or 29th and 30th of October. That weekend. But I don't know. It is weird. It's bizarre to me that United a year ago said we're going to finally fix all the 763s and invest a ton of money and do these conversions and get them done right. And a year later is now saying, shit, that wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Now, that's unfortunate. Maybe it could be a lot of things. Since then, we've had it was more than a year ago, so that first effort was put in before Smazik was out, but still not working.
Yeah. Well, that was a good show, guys. So let's.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I thought so too.
I thought so. I mean, I put a little bit of effort in this week. If you want to follow us on Twitter, we're at DotsLines on Twitter, and you can leave us a comment on moredotsmorelines.com. Happy to hear from you. Leave us a review. I think Seth has the YouTube channel being updated pretty regularly now.
Oh, yeah.
So wait, we have a YouTube channel?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't know
subscribe.
You didn't know we're recording this, like, video? You didn't know that?
I hope not.
But yeah, thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.